You can see my whiteboard.
Yes.
Okay, quadratic equation. So far, you have learned in your Sec 2 Emacs.
Yep.
Okay, quadratic equation is in this form. Right, you agree this is your quadratic equation, right?
Yes.
It's always in this form, this format. No other ways. Then you would remember that sometimes, right, your C is negative. Like sometimes can be negative something x and negative a constant. Then how come I say that this is the format for all kinds of quadratic equation? How come it's always plus? The reason is because your B can be negative and your C can be negative. So ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. It caters for all kinds of quadratic equation. Because your A, B, and C, right? They are real numbers. Okay? Real numbers. A, B, and C are real numbers. Which means your A, B, and your C can be either greater than 0 or less than 0. Okay? Real numbers doesn't mean it's positive. Real numbers can be negative. Okay? So A, B, and C are real numbers. And numbers doesn't mean 1, 2, 3, 4. Numbers can mean a fraction, half, 1/3, 3/4. These are also numbers. Okay? Numbers means all kinds of real numbers. Even pi is also number, or decimal, 4.5329, etc. These are all numbers, classified as numbers. So real numbers means not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, can mean anything. You don't have to copy it because I recording and I upload in YouTube.
Okay.
So can always revisit if you need to. You don't have to copy anything. If you need to write down anything, right? What you can do is you revisit my lesson after I upload in YouTube.
Okay.
Because I'll send you the link. I'll send your mom the link.
Okay.
So during lesson, you just pay attention and listen.
Okay.
Okay, so this one clear. So this is the general format for your quadratic equation. This one, okay, no problem, right?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Then they give you a magic expression or a magic formula for your x. Okay, why I say magic? I say magic is because, right, this is the equation, right, that your teacher will write on the board. Ask you all to memorize it. Correct?
Yeah.
Your teacher wrote this right on the board, ask you all memorize, right?
Yeah.
Did the teacher explain how come x is minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a? Did the teacher explain why this is so?
No.
No. Your teacher did you guys a big disfavor. Okay, are you keen to know why this is so?
Yeah.
You're keen to know why this is so, right? Okay, this formula, right, is derived from this equation, this expression. I'm going to show how it's been derived.
Okay.
Okay. So this whole expression, I'm going to divide by A. You agree, right?
Yeah.
After I divide by A, this is what you get, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this step, do you understand what I'm doing?
No.
No. How come suddenly there's a b over 2a square? Okay, this part here, right? I'm trying to create this fellow. I'm not going to use A, B, C here. I'm going to use P and Q.
Okay.
Okay, you have learned that P plus Q square, right? Is this right?
Yeah.
Right, you learned this before, right?
Yeah.
This is something you're familiar with. Okay. Earlier on, I have this fellow here, right? X squared plus B over A X. Bx over A. Earlier on, I have this, right? I'm trying to make this into this expression. Okay. So X squared is my P square. 2PQ is my B over A times X. Okay, 2PQ is my B over A times X. So if my P square is my X square, that means my P is my X. Agree?
Yeah.
If P is my X, right? If P is my X, 2Q is B over A. Am I right?
Yep.
If 2Q is B over A, Q would be B over 2A.
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I try to find out what's my Q. My Q is B over 2A. Okay, understand now? Okay, B over 2A. So this is my Q square. Okay. Then I added B over 2A in a bracket square, right? And you learn in maths, right? For equation, right? If I add whatever to my left side of the equation, I must add the same quantity in my right side of the equation. Am I right?
Yep.
Yeah. So if I add B over 2A square on my left side, I will add B over 2A bracket square on my right side. Because I cannot change the equation, no? Just randomly add this, then this part do nothing. I cannot do that. So I must add the same substance, B over 2A square. So I add B over 2A square on both sides. So this step, understand?
Yeah.
This step you clear. So this one is my P square plus 2PQ plus Q square. So if I factorize it, I have P plus Q square, right? P plus Q square. Agree? You agree? This become this?
Yeah.
Okay, this one I square it. I have this. 2 square is 4. 2 square is 4. So 2A bracket square is 4A square. This part okay?
Yeah.
Okay, this step, understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, if I square this side, if I take the square root, I must also take the square root here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Square root 4a squared is 2a plus and minus. Okay. That's how I get this expression. Any question?
No.
No, understand the proving.
Yeah.
So in exam, um, there's no need to memorize this. The teacher asks you all memorize, right?
Yeah.
I can understand why she asks you all to memorize. Because it's better to have this formula right at your fingertips. Okay, it's better to have this formula at your fingertips. Good news, this formula is given during exam, by the way.
Oh.
Oh, for your O level, you're taking O level, right? You're
Yeah.
not IP, right?
No.
You're not IP, O level. For your O level, right, this formula is given for your A max and your E max. Where is given, If it's given, then why need to memorize? Why a teacher asks you all memorize? There's reason why she asks you memorize. It's a he or she, your teacher.
She.
It's a she. There's a reason why she asks you all memorize. Because you all need this formula offhand on. This formula should need this formula on. And it's always better to have this formula at your fingertips, to be frank. But let's say you forget this formula, you can derive. The problem is, can you understand and able to derive this? And exam time is so limited, right? You may not have time to write out all this working
Yeah.
and derive. What I did last time is I understand how to derive this, and I still memorize this formula, by the way. Then let's say I can't really remember how to write out this formula, right? I'll derive. It's not that hard to derive, to be frank.
Yeah.
It's just algebra manipulation and completing square.
Yeah.
This one you divide by A and you complete the square. And algebra manipulation, you can get the formula already.
Yeah.
Okay, any question?
No.
No,
Yeah.
okay, if no question. Anyway, this is your textbook. Okay, your textbook, right? We're going to take a look at this. Okay, it says that A greater than 0 turning point is minimum. A less than 0 turning point is maximum. Why is this so? You know why this is so?
No.
Okay, because this expression here, right? Okay, ax squared plus bx plus c is the standard equation for your quadratic equation. Okay. This is the standard equation, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Then I believe you have learned, right, the coefficient of x squared, which is your a.
Mhm.
If a is less than 0, imply this part is negative. If a is less than 0, will be negative something x squared.
Yeah.
Okay. So when it's negative, right, I believe your teacher had mentioned that you'll get an N-shaped graph. Am I right? Your teacher mentioned that before, right?
Yes.
Yeah. When this guy is negative, you have an N-shaped graph. The question is why lah? Why N-shaped graph when it's negative? You analyze this equation here, right?
Mhm.
Okay, because it's a square, right? You get a very big quantity here. Agree?
Yeah.
Regardless of your x, your x can be 1, 2, 3, anything. Right? So because it's a square, this part will get a very large quantity. So if a is negative, right, I have a very large negative quantity.
Yeah.
Okay, you have a very large negative quantity. Then if here are positive, let's say, you will still have a very large negative quantity, because no matter how big is your b, right, it won't be able to compensate the negativity of your x squared, because it's just x one. This x squared. X squared is even more negative than x1,
Yeah.
because your negative is affected by the a. You understand the logic?
Yes.
Yeah. So if this is very negative, okay, then as x get bigger, right? As x get bigger, it will turn this part, because initially it's like that, negative. Your result in this kind of curve. Can you understand?
Yes.
Yeah. You use logic deduction, you're able to get this. Then if it's positive, right? If a is greater than 0, right? You have a U shape.
Yeah.
You have a U shape, regardless of B on C, whether it's positive or negative. So long A is positive, you have a U shape. Okay?
Yeah.
So now you know A affects the shape of the curve, whether it's U shape or N shape. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's an N shape, it's maximum point. It's a U shape, it's minimum point. This one is self-explanatory just by the drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah, why is it maximum is self-explanatory from the drawing. So the key is to identify the shape of the curve, whether it's U shape or N shape. Okay? Okay, let's say, all right, let's say you don't remember A positive is U shape or N shape. Don't worry. That's a trick to remember whether it's U shape or N shape. If A is positive, greater than 0 means positive. If A is positive, because you are positive, you smile. Make sense?
Yeah.
You are positive, so you smile. This is a smiley face. Then a less than 0 is negative, right? Because you're negative about the circumstances, right? You frown. Does that make sense? Will that make it easier for you to remember the shape of the curve?
Yeah.
Probably your teacher also mentioned this in school before, because it's very common. This way to remember this is very common. Probably your teacher also did mention this in school. So now you know, just by looking at your A, right? You know whether it's a maximum or minimum point. Okay, next we're going to take a look at factorizing an expression. Okay, I'm going to factorize an expression and state the coordinates of the turning point. Okay, the expression is 2x squared minus 10x plus 12, let's say. Okay. They ask you to factorize this expression. Okay, you're supposed to factorize this expression. So factorizing this, no problem, right?
No.
Okay, 5x, okay, either 6-1 or 3-2, right? Either 6-1 or 3-2. Let's say it's 6-1. Okay, cannot. Then it has to be 3-2. Okay, both minus. Then after factorize, always double check. X squared minus 2x minus 3x minus 5x minus 3 times minus 2 is 6. You understand how to get this right mentally?
Yeah.
Okay. So once you have this right, the question said factorize. By the way, I changed the question a bit from the book.
Yeah.
Just to let you know. Okay. So this one is the factorized one. They ask you to factorize. Then after that, state the turning points state the coordinates of the turning point of the graph. So how am I going to state the coordinates of the turning point? So by how to state the coordinate turning point, you have to complete the square. Okay? Complete the square. Okay, do you understand why we need to complete the square?
Yeah.
Why? What's the purpose of completing the square?
To make it a quadratic equation.
Not exactly. Okay, maybe I explain to you what is the purpose of completing a square. Okay, if I go to throw you an expression like this, right?
Yeah.
And ask you to sketch the graph. Okay. If I will throw you a quadratic expression, 2x squared minus 10x plus 12, right? And I ask you to sketch the graph. Do you agree the coordinates of the turning point is a very good information you want to have?
Yeah.
Do you agree that if I were to look at an equation, right, and immediately I know the turning point, do you think that is a good equation?
Yeah.
You agree, right? By looking at the equation, I know the turning point immediately. Okay. But the thing is, if I look at this quadratic equation, right? 2x squared minus 10x plus 12, right? I look at this quadratic equation, right? You won't know where is the turning point immediately. You won't know. Okay. Then if I factorize, you still won't know where's the turning point. Factorizing, right? You only know what is the root of the equation. Root means, right, where the curve cuts the x-axis. By factorizing, I only know the curve will cut the x-axis at 3 and 2. That's all you know. Okay? And they want me to sketch this graph, right? Okay, 2x squared, positive, right? Positive is a U shape. Then cuts at 3 and 2, right? Okay, that's all you know right now.
Yeah.
They want me to sketch, right? If I would do anything here, that's all I know. I don't know what is this point. That means I don't know what is this point at the moment until you complete the square. So you see, if I complete the square, if I had to complete the square, right? A square minus 2ab plus b square, a minus b bracket square. Okay, minus 5 over 2 in a bracket. And you square it, you got minus 1/4. So this is minus 1/4. Okay, this part you simplify, you got minus 1/4. Okay, that one no problem, right? Then I remove the big bracket. Okay, understand how I get this? Okay, just now I mentioned, right? You look at the equation, you know the turning point instantly. What is this equation? This equation is the completed square equation. By looking at this equation, right, I know where is my turning point instantly. By looking at this equation, I know that this here is minus half. And by looking at this equation, I know this is 2.5 or 5 over 2. Okay. You know this is 5 over 2. This part is 5 over 2. Because the bracket is 0. If bracket is 0, right, x minus 5 over 2 is 0, right? X is 5 over 2. That's how I know the turning point is 5 over 2. 2.5, 2.5 is 5 over 2. Then I know this part is minus half because this is minus half.
Yeah.
So the purpose of completing the square is for you to transform the quadratic equation into this form. Because this form, this, and this, right? They are all the same equation. Okay? This, and this, they are all the same equation in different forms only. This is the ax squared plus bx plus c, that form now. This is the factorized form. Factorized form. This is the completed square form. The completed square form, right? If you express an expression in the completed square form, right? You will not know where is the root. By looking at this equation, you don't know where is the root, but you know where is the turning point.
Yeah.
Okay, you know instantly where is the turning point. 5 over 2 and minus half. That's all. Okay. You don't know where's the root, but you know where's the turning point. Then by looking at this equation here, right? You don't know where is the turning point, but you know where is the root. 3 and 2 is the root. Okay. Then by looking at this equation, this equation here, ax squared plus bx plus c, that equation, right? You don't know where is your root. You don't know where is your turning point. Then this one, what do you know at first instant? This one, what would you know? You would know where is your y-intercept. Understand?
Yeah.
You know where's your y-intercept? Okay, let me draw this thing again now. Let me draw nicely here. Okay, the turning point. Okay. So you need 3 equations now to draw the curve. You need 3 equations. The factorized form, you get where it cut the x-axis. The original form, you know where it cut the y-axis. Okay, you know why is 12, right? You know how come it's 12, right?
Yeah.
Because x is 0. So these two disappear, left with 12. So y is 12. Okay, this equation, you know the y-intercept. This equation, you know the where it cut the x-axis, which is the root. The completed square, you know the turning point. Okay? You only need 3 information to sketch a quadratic curve. You only need 3 information. Where it cut the y-axis, where it cut the x-axis, where's the turning point. That's all you need to know. And of course, the shape, N shape or U shape. N shape, U shape from here, coefficient of x squared. So now if I will throw you an expression, ax squared plus bx plus c, right? If I throw you an expression like that, you shouldn't have problem sketching the curve. Okay? You understand so far?
Yes.
Can you understand now?
Yeah.
Okay, if you understand all, I'm going to move on to another kind of question.
Okay.
Later, I let you do the question. Okay, another kind of question is they'll ask you, right, to express express this equation, right, in this form. You can express this expression in this form. You know how to do that? Any idea?
Completing the square.
Yes, completing the square. Very good. Yeah. Same form already. Okay, this one, how to complete the square? You know how to complete the square, right? By now. Yeah, like that. Then still got one more. Okay, this one complete the square, right?
Yeah.
You have to take out the 2. Okay, whenever you do completing square, right, the coefficient of x squared must be 1. If not, you cannot do completing square. Five over 2 minus 1. 3 over 2. Like that. Okay. Any question for C?
No.
So you understand how to complete square already, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, then another kind of question, right? They ask you to explain why can never be less than minus 6. Okay, you know how to explain?
No.
You want to try before I tell you the answer?
Because when you square the number, it must always be greater than 0.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a concept. So how to put it into words that would that will assure you the marks? Okay, what you can do is you have to write out your mathematical reasoning. Okay, whenever in your O level, right, they ask you to explain why. Whenever they ask you to explain why or prove that, so on and so forth, explain why or prove that, it's always in this format. Okay, since, therefore, hence. Okay, it's always in this format, since, therefore, hence. Okay, since, therefore, hence. Since means, right, you are offering the reason. Since whatever mathematical reason. Okay, therefore, because of the mathematical reason, right? Therefore, this is the result. Hence, etc., etc. The hence is optional. Since, therefore, since always followed by therefore. Hence, right, depends on situation. Sometimes you need to use hence. Since, therefore, hence. Sometimes no need. But if you have a since, you will always have a therefore. Okay, just now your mathematical reason you give me is this fella x minus 3 bracket square, right? Then your reason is correct. This is the reason you give, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can use this as a reason. Since x minus 3 in a bracket is square is greater than 0, right? Therefore, because this one is always greater than 0, right?
Yeah.
Agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then if this one is greater than 0, this even more greater than 0. If both are greater than this whole chunk is greater than 0, right? Actually, you need this. Okay? Since this one greater than 0, therefore this one is greater than 0. Hence, this whole chunk, right, will always be greater than -6. Then you can write it in words. Usually the last statement, right, you copy from the question what they ask you to prove. Understand, no?
Yeah.
Since, therefore, hence. O-level, the proving where you need to explain, right? You just need to use the format since, therefore, hence. No need to write long essay. Yeah. Okay, this one okay. Okay. Are you learning something?
I'm learning.
Is it helpful?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You know how to do this question?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do together. They ask you to complete square, right?
Yeah.
So you complete the square. Okay, I'm going to complete the square. Okay, you know how I get this, You understand my working,
Yeah.
You don't understand, please stop me and ask. Okay?
Yep.
So coordinates of turning point, right? Okay, completing square, you know the coordinates of the turning point in an instant. Okay? Okay?
Yep.
State the coordinates of the turning point. After I complete a square, you would know the coordinates of the turning point. This part is 0. The one in the bracket is 0. So x is 7/3. If this part is 0, right? 3 times 0 is 0. So whatever is left is negative 100/3. So that's the turning point. Okay, state the coordinate turning point. Hence, sketch the graph and state the minimum value of the function. Hence, sketch the graph. But before you can sketch the graph, it's best for you to solve this equation first. Okay, this is 400. Okay, 17/3 or -1. So you can sketch the graph now, right?
Yeah.
Correct, you have all the ingredient now, right? Okay, this is a U-shaped curve, right? U-shape cut at -1 and 17/3. Okay, minimum point. Okay, this is -17. Okay, minimum point is here. 7/3 and -100/3. Okay, that means all. This one not drawn to scale. Okay, like that. It's -17. Here is how many? 7/3. Here is -100/3. Like that. Well, okay, understand
Yeah.
how I managed to draw eventually. Similar to the question earlier. Any question?
No.
Noah?
Yeah.
Okay. I got another question. I got 3 more examples to go through with you. Yeah, I got 3 more examples to go through with you. Sketch the graph. Sketch the graph of y equal to negative 2x squared plus 6x minus 6. Sketch the graph, right? State is maximum or minimum value. Okay, not just state the max and min value, and also the value of x. Okay, the max or min value, they are referring to the max or min value of x or y. You understand my question? When they said max or min value, right? The max or min value, they are referring to the value of x or y.
Or X.
Actually, it's y. Okay, max or min value, they are referring to max or min value of y. Maximum value of y and minimum value of y. And value of x where it occurs. So to do that, right, you have to, what must you do? What must you do?
Complete the square.
Complete the square. Okay? I take out -2 further. Take out -2. Okay, another thing is when you complete the square, right? When you are completing the square, right? Try to let the coefficient of x squared be a positive number so that it's a lot easier to complete the square. Like in this case, right, I could have factorized out my 2 and a negative x squared in a bracket, but I choose to factorize out -2. Okay, you factorize out -2 so that the coefficient of x squared is a positive. You let the coefficient of x squared be positive so that you have an easier life. Trust me, based on experience in doing Amex. I'm sharing my close to 30 years of experience in doing AMAX. Okay. This is things that teacher may not share in class. Teacher will not tell you take out -2 and keep your coefficient of x squared positive. Teacher may not tell you that, may or may not tell you that. These are things that I realized in secondary school. After I've done, I don't know, I did how many questions, then I realized it's better to have the coefficient of x squared be positive. So even if your original expression, right, the coefficient of x squared is negative, right, it's okay. You can make it positive by factorizing out negative coefficient. Another thing, right, when you are completing square, right, your coefficient of x squared must be 1. You're aware of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It has to be a 1. So in other words, when you are completing square, right, whatever is your original expression, right, you have to make it in such a way that the expression you are going to completing the square for, right, the coefficient of x squared is positive 1. Cannot be -1. -1, you have a hard time doing the question. Trust me. Okay, these are things that teacher fail to highlight in school. I don't know why. Your teacher might highlight. I can't say your teacher won't highlight. She might highlight, but it depends on the teacher. But I notice a lot of teachers, they fail to highlight. Because I asked a lot of my students, they said the teacher never say. Maybe the teacher did not do so much AMAX question like I used to do in the past. Okay, maybe I share with you before I take my O-level exam, right?
Yeah.
You know ring files, right? You know ring files is about 4 cm thick, right?
Yeah.
One ring file about 4 cm thick, right? Correct. I have 4 ring files. After my O-level exam, I have 4 ring files of foolscap paper that are completed with AMAX question. That's how much AMAX I did before I sit for my O-level exam. Just the answer sheet only, not question paper. Question paper is separate ring file. Just the answer paper, the foolscap paper. Because I did all my AMAX question on foolscap paper. Foolscap paper and graph paper for graph. And I stapler together. So at the end of my O-level, when I pack my stuff, right?
Yeah.
I look at it, I count the number of ring files. So I actually have 4 ring files worth of AMAX answer sheet, the foolscap paper. Front and back, I write my working. So 1 ring file, 4 cm thick. 4 cm thick, I don't know how many sheets of paper are there. And 4 cm thick of answer sheet, I don't know how many sets of paper I did. Okay, I never count. I just do. Because when you're studying, you won't bother go and count kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Correct. You won't go and bother. I did one question. I did one paper. You won't bother go and count, right?
Yeah.
Nobody do that, right? I also never bother go and count. But number of ring files, you will know what. Because you file it, you know you can count. There are 4 ring files of AMAX foolscap paper. Just AMAX alone. Emax, I have another 4 ring files of foolscap paper that I did. So altogether, my max, I have 8 ring files worth of foolscap paper of pure answer that I did over the course of 2 years. Sec 3, Sec 4. So that's how much I worked in the past. That's how much question I did in the past. Imagine I do this kind of question, right? So a lot of things I'm sharing with you, the shortcut I share with you, right, is based on what I've done in the past. I discover there's a lot of things I discover myself. My teacher never shared that in class. Maybe she also don't know. Maybe last time when she was a student, she also didn't do so many questions. She's aware of that. But I did so many questions until I'm aware of certain things. Certain things that's unspoken of in the textbook. Textbook also will not mention this.
Yeah.
Because there are certain things you pick up when you actually do a lot of questions. So these are one of the things I pick up because I did a lot of questions to know that when you factorize, right, you take out the negative. Keep the coefficient of x squared positive so that it's easier to do your completing square. Okay? So
Yeah.
let's continue to do the completing square. So this is a square minus 2ab plus b square, right? So it's a minus b bracket square. Because your b is half the coefficient of a. Then this one, you press calculator. 3 minus 9 over 4. Okay, 3 minus 9 over 4, you have 3/4. Then you multiply in your minus 2. Okay, minus 2, right? This one changed to minus sign already. Minus 3 over 2. Okay? So your completed square is this form. Okay, then they ask for max or mean, right? Because it's negative 2x squared, right? It is shaped like that, N shape. So it's a maximum value. Okay, they ask for value, right? Do you notice they ask for value?
Yeah.
Maximum value would be minus 3 over 2. That's the maximum value. Then the value of x, right? Value of x will be 3 over 2. Value of x 3 over 2. Then they ask you to sketch the graph, right? Then to sketch the graph, I have to factorize this guy further. Okay, 3 and 1 you can't factorize. So you have to use the minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So you have to solve this equation. Okay, 36. Minus is minus 24 times 2, 48. You have a negative. So this one, because this part is negative, right? So no real root. You understand why no real root?
Yeah.
Because this part is negative. No real root. Square root negative, you can't define. So no real root means it doesn't cut the x-axis. Okay, the curve is not going to cut the x-axis because there's no real root. Okay, for a graph that has no real root, right? N shape, right?
Yeah.
N shape. Okay, the graph looks something like this. Then this is -3/2. And this is 3/2. Right? The graph will look like this. Confirm. Really, the graph will look like this. Right? Any question?
No.
No, understand how to do
No.
Okay, there's a few more questions. Okay, does each of the following curves explain your answer? Okay. Does each of the following curves lie completely above or below the x-axis? Example. Okay, this one. And B. Okay. So they ask you to, they're asking you a question. Does this curve, right, lies completely above or below the x-axis? Actually, there's a concept I need to mention to you. Before we do this question, there's an important concept I need to mention to you before I forget. Okay, if A is greater than 0, okay, and the minimum value okay, do you understand this line? Why is it like that? You can understand why? Or you don't understand?
I don't understand.
Okay, a lot of students don't understand, but it's okay. I explain to you. Okay, if A is greater than 0, right? What does that imply?
So minimum curve.
So it's a U shape or N shape?
U shape.
U shape. Then they said that the minimum value is positive. It will be like this, right?
Yep.
Minimum value is positive. Then the curve lies completely above the x-axis. Understand, no? You sketch out, you would understand. Okay, can understand, This one can understand,
Yes.
Okay. Now it's the other way, Okay, can understand?
Yes.
Same logic. Okay, less than 0, N shape. Less than 0 confirm is N shape. Maximum value is negative. Then the curve lies completely below the x-axis. Okay, understand now?
Yeah.
Okay, these are concepts. These are concepts, meaning if they tell you A greater than 0, mean value positive, you must be able to infer that the curve lies completely above the x-axis. Or if they tell you A greater than 0, the curve lies completely above the x-axis, you must be able to infer the minimum value is positive. Okay? Then if they tell you A less than 0, the curve lies completely below the x-axis, right? You must be able to infer the max value is negative. Or A less than 0, max value negative, right? You must be able to infer that the curve lies completely below the x-axis. Okay, any question?
No.
These are concepts. Okay, now you know the concept, right? They ask you, does each of the following curves lie completely above or below the x-axis? What must you do? You must. What must you do to answer the question?
Complete the square.
Yes, you complete the square to know the
Uh,
complete square is to know the what?
Turning points.
Yes, very good. Complete the square to know the turning point. Okay, you complete a square, you have this. Okay, the turning point. Okay, so this is a min or max. This is a maximum turning point. Okay, this is the maximum turning point. Then they ask you a question. Does this curve lies completely above or below? It lies completely above or below. It lies completely below. Okay. It lies completely below. Understand?
Yes.
Then this one, same thing, complete the square. Okay, this one you be careful. I'm factorizing out my half. Understand?
Yep.
You're factorizing out half. You're not factorizing out 2. So whatever in the bracket is multiplied by 2. Okay. Then this one, if you sketch, right? Okay, maybe you write the turning point first. This is the U shape, right? So it's minimum. So what's the minimum point?
6 and -9.
Yes. That's the minimum point. 6, -9. Minimum point. This is what? U shape. Oh, because I changed the question. Okay, now my 6, -9. So you end up like that. So this one, does it lie completely above or below?
No.
No, right? None of the situation. Right? Because I changed this part. So I get this kind of curve. So if I were to change this to 2x, let's say this is 2x, 2x plus 4, let's say. Okay, 2x plus 4. I take out half, 4x plus 8. Okay?
Yeah.
Then after that, minus half the coefficient of x squared. Eight minus 4. Minimum point is 2, 4. Can you see? If it's 2, 4, different story. Can you see if it's 2, 4, it's different story?
Yes.
2, 4. 2, 4, different story. 2, 4. Right? But they're not asking you to sketch. They're asking you to answer a question. Does each of the following curves lie completely above or below? Okay, lie completely above x-axis. Lie completely below x-axis. Then they ask you to explain, right? Explain, as shown. Explain, right? As shown. And somehow you sketch out. There's no way they can fault you. Okay, remember this rule. A picture is worth 1,000 words. In exam, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Okay? So sketch out your graph so that you don't have to write out in words. Then just write here as shown. Okay? As shown. Explain answer as shown. If you don't do sketch, you have to write long chunk of paragraph explaining. So it's best to sketch.
Okay.
Any question?
No.
Okay, now real life example question. Okay. I send the question. Can read my handwriting,
Yes.
not too illegible.
I understand.
Okay, the height y meters of a ball hit by a bat can be modeled by the equation y equal to negative 0.04x squared plus 2x plus 48, where x is the horizontal distance traveled by the ball in meters. Find the greatest height reached by the ball and the corresponding horizontal distance traveled. So what are they asking? Okay, you understand how I get these?
Yes.
Then you do your normal completing square. Wait, Okay, so y equal to this fellow here. Okay, I completed the square, right? That's not the final answer. They ask for greatest height. Greatest height is 73. Corresponding horizontal distance. Corresponding horizontal distance.
Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I think my Zoom crashed. I cannot see anything on the screen now.
Huh?
Yeah, like it's completely black.
What?
Yeah. Wait, I need to go tell my parents. I already did.
But no one has what happening.
I don't know, it's just.
Yeah, you can hear me? Hello? Okay, sure. Can. Okay, can. Okay, thank you. Bye. Okay.
Okay, it's okay. Let me see. You're there? Are you able to? Okay, good. Can you hear? Can you hear?
Okay, can you can see y'all?
Yes.
Not from not very good. Or if you want to keep this series also now. Don't do it.
You leave it there
Speak
if you
also.
need it.
Fine.
Okay, I re-explain what examples happen.
You tell. Can you hear?
Yep, I can hear,
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, okay.
Okay, that's the question. Okay, that's the question now.
Yeah.
Okay, just now I already finished part one already. But part one is not that hard. Part one just completing the square. So you complete square, you have this, right? Okay, you have this. You understand how I get this?
Yes.
Your greatest height would be 49. Horizontal distance would be 25. Okay, this one no problem. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, part 2, right? Part 2, they ask for horizontal distance traveled by the ball before it hits the ground. So you need to solve this equation. Okay, you need to solve this equation. Okay. One, two, two, five. Okay, 35. Okay, 60 or negative 10. So the horizontal distance is 60. Cannot be negative 10. Because this is how the graph is going to look like. Here would be 24. Here would be 30. No, is it 30? No, not 30. Here will be 25. Here is 49. Okay? This is how the graph will look like. Huh? Any question?
No.
You understand how I get the graph?
Yep.
Okay, the question may not be asking you to draw the graph. In exam, need to draw the graph or not? If the question never asks you to draw the graph. Okay, you draw the graph, right, is for you to understand the question. It's for you to understand the question. Because part 2, they ask for horizontal distance traveled by the graph, by the ball, before it hits the ground. So this is actually a pictorial depiction of what had actually transpired. So the ball is from here, hit by the bat, the ball go like that, right? The ball like that hit the ground. You can visualize. Can visualize.
Yep.
Yeah. The ball hit by the bat, then land on the ground. This is the way the ball travel. Then they ask for horizontal distance traveled, right? This distance. This distance is here, 60. So this is the graph. And the graph is actually the pathway of how the ball actually travel. So it reached a maximum point, which is 49 meters above ground level. Okay, can you understand the question?
Yes.
Yeah. So you sketch the graph is for you to understand what is going on. you have a clearer idea. But sometimes the question will ask you to sketch the path that the ball travel. Sometimes they won't ask you sketch the graph. Sometimes they ask you sketch the path that the ball travel. Then sometimes question phrased this way, right? You may not understand what the question is asking. Okay. So sometimes the question will say sketch the path that the ball traveled. So they're actually asking you to sketch the graph. You need to know what they're asking. The question may not say explicitly sketch the graph. Because this is an application question, right? They'll just ask you sketch the path that the ball traveled. They'll be sketching ahead. What do you mean by sketch the path the ball traveled? If you don't understand that the path the ball traveled is actually referring to the graph. Sometimes exam can ask in this way, right? They like to ask this way, the teacher. Okay. So no more question already. I went through all the word example already. So if you look at your book, right, you please attempt question, all the practice now question, please go and do them by today. Within today, within this weekend, at least within this weekend. If today you got no time, right, by tomorrow, you have to complete all the practice now question. Your practice now question, right,